If your layers have grown out and are looking like a ledge that's gonna send you over the edge, then stop right there and let's trim your hair. In today's video, I'm sharing with you a DIY maintenance haircut, just something that you can lightly do in between your haircut appointments to lift a little extra weight off of your head. I'll be sharing with you a layering technique following a pinwheel sectioning, more on that in a minute, as this will help you effectively achieve a nice lifted and flowy haircut with lots of layering and no shelving. If you are new here, what's good everybody? I am Mains by Mel, a professional hairstylist, curl specialist, and DIY enthusiast, because I know that you can do this. Although if you don't know if you can do this, then don't. You know, it's not for everybody, you know? Let's get into the tutorial. All right, my friends, this is the sectioning for the pinwheel method. The reason why we call this a pinwheel is because we are going to pivot all around our head for even layers all throughout. When I say even, I mean it's not gonna be shorter in the front, longer in the back, or shorter in the back, or vice versa. The layers are gonna be distributed really evenly around our circular head with this circular pinwheel method. Things you will need are scissors. You don't have to use expensive scissors, but do not use ones that you use in the kitchen or on crafts, okay? These are very, very affordable scissors that I got on Amazon. I have my professional scissors I can use, and when I compare these, they're not bad at all. So I'm even going to use them. We're going to use a comb to keep things neat, because a good haircut isn't about how well you can cut the hair, but actually how well you can comb the hair. Don't you forget that. And you may want to have a spray bottle with water on hand, and perhaps even a cutting lotion, just a detangler, something that you can put on your hair. I'll probably use the Aveda Nutriplenish because it works really well for me. Plus it's got heat and UV protection, which I need. The sun is shining. And finally, we are going to prefer a cutting cape, unless you don't mind getting hairy and itchy. It's just not a sensory feeling that is for me. Oh, I also prep my hair with K18. That is the treatment that is currently in my hair. It's the molecular repair leave-in hair mask. That also makes my hair feel very silky and slippery and makes it very easy for me to work through with the comb as I am cutting. Now, I don't know what I'm gonna do about this new mic. Let's see. Hold on. Hello? No? I really hope that you sound good. All right. I'm using a white cape because I have dark hair and it'll be easier for you to see. But if I had light hair, I would use a dark or black cape. I'm always thinking of you. Now we're ready. All right, we're gonna hope for the best. So now we are ready to get into the cutting. I am a side part girly. This is the side that we call heavy because there's more hair over here, and I'm starting on the light side. Pop this open and let her down. And there is a reason why we're doing this on wet hair. It's gonna make things a lot easier, keep it clean, and for a beginner to see where we are cutting. As a professional who specializes in curly hair, I'm gonna take some water. I do most of my haircuts on wet hair, especially if the curl pattern is pretty consistent throughout the head. That being said, if you have a drastically different curl patterns throughout your hair, then you may be a better candidate for a dry haircut on your natural curl pattern in its natural state. Now, did I mention that this is a great haircut for shoulder length, mid-length, tit length, longer? It really applies to all hair lengths with the same issue, that heavy shelf. Now, if you have very, very thick hair, then don't be shy to split it in half. We are using vertical sections. These are vertical sections. These would be horizontal sections. We're working on a vertical. From the top of your head to the nape. I'm going to lift, comb it evenly from root to tip. I'm gonna take it in my fingers and I'm going to see, make sure you do this in front of a mirror. Don't be worried about any pieces that fall out. These are my bangs, and it's probably better that I don't cut them anymore. We're lifting right up to the ceiling, and then we're gonna tilt our head until we find this point. This little corner right here, you see that? This is my weight point. Now, I don't have a crazy weight point. You might notice a really heavy section, a really heavy corner, especially if your hair has really been growing out. So don't worry if you have more hair here. I can also take my hair all the way out to the side. If your hair is very bluntly cut and one length, you might notice a big corner here. Trimming that will give you a more rounded edge on the bottom, but I don't have to trim that right now. All I'm personally working with is a really heavy top layer that is just not bouncing quite as lightly as I'd like it to, especially in the back. So we're gonna take down the next section, but what I'm gonna do is take a little bit of this section. So I'm gonna split this in half. This is gonna help to be my guide. I'm gonna clip this away. And if you notice that it's really heavy back here, again, don't be shy to split it in half, starting with the top apex of the pinwheel. We want to work in these pie-shaped sections. There's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot to cut here. I know it, I feel it, I live it, I breathe it. Except I can't breathe, it's not for me. Take a look at that sectioning. I didn't take the whole section just to make it a little easier to control. I'm working in the back left quadrant, so I'm gonna turn my nose in line with my right shoulder. This just makes things a lot easier for me to maneuver because obviously it can be difficult to reach the back of your head. Turn my head, lift, elevate this section all the way up. Remember how we tilted our head to the left? Now we're gonna tilt it back, and I'm left with that. Do you see this triangle right here? That is making the top section of my hair so much heavier. So we're just gonna snip her off. Beautiful. I'm just gonna check this angle as well. There's a little bit that I'm gonna cut. Just a touch. Now, as I'm moving around my head, I'm gonna move my guide as well. So I don't need any more of this front section. I really wanna keep the hair lubricated. Okay, so now that I've got my whole back section, my head is turned to the left, I'm gonna turn my head to the right, opposite side, lift and tilt back. You can see when I tilt my head back how much hair falls out. Again, that's the length that we are preserving, and that little corner we cut off is the layering. Now I'm taking the rest of the back because we split the section in two and cutting what needs to be cut. Beautiful. Now while I'm here, I am just gonna trim up my length, just making it a clean line. Beautiful. Now we've done the whole left side of our head, right? Yes, right. We're gonna move on to the right. But I am gonna take this very top corner section, the center of the pinwheel, as this is going to be my guide for the other side. I'm gonna keep this out and clip all of this away to stay organized. It's very easy to get overwhelmed in curly hair, especially your own if you're DIYing this, especially if you have a lot of hair. It can get very overwhelming, and I don't want you to get lost, so we're staying organized, okay? Are you with me? Let me know if you're liking this tutorial. Give it a thumbs up if you're finding it helpful. Comment below if you have any questions, and let's continue. We're gonna keep this aside. I need to wet my hair down a little bit, so I'm going in with some water and my detangler. And now we're gonna check where the problem lives. So I'm combing, elevating my section, pinching it, lifting it. You may notice, again, some of these hairs are falling. That's okay. This is your length. We're protecting the length here. We're not trimming up the length. We're just refreshing layers. And because this is my heavy side, this is again for my side part curlies. If you have a middle part, you don't have to worry about this. But to compensate for the extra distance that my part takes from the center of my head, if I had to lift this hair all the way up off of my head, you'll see, if I lean, that there is quite a point up here. But this top hair that was the longest in this section also has to travel a farther distance to find where it lives when my hair is in its natural state, down, long and flowing. How much longer? Well, how far is your part from the center? Mine is about 1 inch. So I want to cut this hair 1 inch longer. Let me know if that is making sense to you. Now let's measure that, see how much we cut compared to the back. It is about 1 inch longer, maybe a little more. That's okay. I'd rather leave more hair because I can cut more later. Thank you, ruler. You might be like me and not have a lot that you need to cut. That's okay. We're going to carry on here. I'll further explain what we are doing here, but it's really all of the same. I am splitting each quadrant in half so that once again, I can use it as a guide for the next section, which I'm going to cut. We're just finishing up this back quadrant here. So I'm going to respray, detangle, lift, elevate all the way up, use my guide as a backup. And because we're in the back right quadrant, we're turning to the left, then tilting back to preserve the length. And so we can find the corner of heavy weight and we snip. And you'll see me pull this hair out the side as well. Again, this is to make sure that the bottom looks nice and rounded and not too heavy. If you like the bottom of your hair to look very full, you can skip this step. I'm personally doing this more as a cleanup from my last cut. Now, moving on to the next section, I'm fully taking away the front quadrant. I don't need to use it as my guideline anymore. All of this hair has been cut, so I'm putting it away and I'm finishing up this last quadrant, the back right quadrant. So I'm turning my head to the right, tilting my head up and cut. Okay, oh wait. Just gonna check if there's a little extra weight. I usually see this corner in the back. My back is cut a little bit more blunt because I like the bottom to look really nice and full. However, I do like a nice rounded shape. So see how there's like this point right here? I'm gonna gently cut into that with a very soft little point cut. Now while I'm here, I am just gonna trim up my length, just making it a clean line. Not that you can see that when the hair is curly, so it's more for me. But now we have officially trimmed up all of my layers around my head. Now one final check I'm going to do is basically draw a circle around that apex, the point on the pinwheel, the middle of the pie. I'm gonna grab a little bit of hair from each quadrant like so, and I should elevate. I'm just gonna clean up any rogue hairs. Here is the damage, not too bad, right? Nothing too scary, but this little amount is gonna make a huge difference. Okay, these are the dry results, still with the cast from my gel. So I'm gonna fluff it out, that way we can really shake out the hair, let it lay where it lives. That way we can refine any additional trimming that needs to be trimmed. I love to use a hair oil to do this because my hair is higher porosity, it's been color treated, and especially if I want to continue growing my hair, can we just appreciate how it almost looks longer? That's what this haircut just did. It just set me up for success to continue growing out my hair without extra weight. And so to retain all of my length, I want to make sure that I am oiling my ends to make sure that I prevent splitting as well as frizzing. It is humid. I don't know about you, but for me, it's summertime. See, even though I part my hair off to the side, I let it level up and center itself towards the back. That way I have an even distribution of weight on both sides of my hair. I like hair volume consistency. I don't want to look lopsided. But anyways, let's see. These are the layers that we just put into the hair. I mean, it looks pretty perfect to me. That have really picked everything up and cascaded the curls throughout all of my length. Look at everything, how it's flowing. Whereas before this cut, all of this top layer was a lot more heavy. It wasn't allowing me to get as much volume in my root area. And it was also really round and bulky here. I had a lot of volume in through my cheeks, which are already quite full and cheeky. The only thing that can use some trimming is this face framing here. I'm gonna do this dry. When I am dry cutting a curl, I wanna cut in the C of the curl, right in the middle of it. I'm gonna angle my scissors downwards. I'm gonna gently open, close, open, close, open, close, like so. And I'm kind of just connecting the dots from my shortest point to the longest point, creating a diagonal here. So everything that is long and in the way is what I'm trimming. I'm gonna let the hair that sits on top of the bangs just flop over, and that way I can cut anything that might feel too long. If I want to layer it a little bit, I'm gonna lift it. Anytime you're elevating the hair from where it naturally falls, you are creating layering. That helps to remove a little excess weight so I don't have a super heavy side bang. Love how that's falling. I believe that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this DIY at-home maintenance tutorial very helpful. Remember that the less you cut, the better, especially if you are new to trimming your hair and you're not quite sure how it's going to bounce up, if you want more tutorials and you want more tips and tricks on how to cut curly hair, I have a whole playlist of DIY cuts. I want to consider this beginner friendly, but maybe it's a little bit more advanced because of all of the sectioning. But for really simple basic haircuts, I also have ponytail haircuts. Specifically, my pigtails haircut also addresses removing extra weight with layers and just 2 ponytails. So you can check out that tutorial, especially if you love a U-V shape in the back. But this is exactly how I would recommend you achieve even layers all throughout your hair, especially if you were tired of having that shelf. I will link the tools and products that I use in the description box below, and I hope to see you in my next video. Peace! As you can see, all my regulars, we are trying out new sound options. I've heard you, you've heard me, and you say that I sound like shit. How does that sound? I'm hoping for the best for this video. We did in fact fuck up the sound in a couple areas, so I am redoing the sound. This is now becoming an ASMR. So sorry. Any bidders? Do I have a $1,000 for the curl? No, really, do people buy hair clippings? I know some people buy bath water or like used socks and underwears. Would anyone like my hair clipping? Ma'am, come see my new look. Ma'am, I did it all by myself. Ma'am? She's not here. Why did she have to go? Wasn't she just here 5 seconds ago? She just spoke to me 5 seconds ago. Is she on the toilet here? Yeah, man, she's here, you idiot. I was looking for you, and Anthony said you're at the bank. I'm like, she was literally just here. She's just on the toilet. I think the mic picked all of that up. That's weird. I'll go to a different part of the house, and you can't see me, but you can still hear me. I'll have to remember to turn it off when I have to go to the washroom. And there's a frog in my throat, and I'm hungry. There is no frog in my belly. Amanda, that's really ugly.
How is that really ugly? Tell me that's not cute.
It's okay.
I think it's so cute. Look at the details on it. It's got pearls everywhere. Just tell me it's not cute.
If you love them, we're gonna keep them.